record holder for the most yards ever passing in a single game, Rohan Davey. Emmitt Smith joins us in studio.
It's the first time I played in such a place that had that much noise.
Jock, throw a rock and you'll hit a 3-star cornerback in Louisiana.
Jock Talk is sponsored by Locke Meredith Injury Lawyers.
Well, the moment has finally come. Harrison Valentine is making his Jock Talk debut. Harrison, for those of you who don't know, is highly involved at LSU when it comes to their athletics, their branding, all sorts of different stuff. Harrison, thanks for coming down.
Jock, anytime I get to sit down with you, it's a treat. And I was coming over here, and I was thinking to myself, not to date you, but the first project that I did my freshman year of school at the Manship School when I was a freshman at LSU was on you. So this is a full circle moment for me to now be a guest on your show. So thank you for having me.
Well, I was flattered back then that you wanted to do a project on me. I likewise told you you'd be very underwhelmed.
No, you were great. I got an A.
You got okay. Well, I did my part then, and you did yours. So as young as this guy looks, he's been at LSU 7 years now, right?
7 years, yeah. This is my 8th year overall at LSU, 7 years working for the department. It's been a dream come true. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a bit. But from New Jersey, went to boarding school in New Jersey, which people think down here is like you're a troubled child if you went to boarding school. You know, it's like military school. But no, boarding school is people want to go to boarding school up north. So I went to boarding school. Started my own LSU website out of my dorm room for an audience of 0, and I started following people like you and Ross Dellinger, and really grew tired of consuming content and really wanted to create my own. So I started this blog called InsideTheTigers.com, and really just started writing for an audience of 0 and kept growing it and growing it and growing it. And my parents thought my love of LSU was just a fad. They were like, oh, here's a Jersey young kid, Merry Christmas, when I was 11 or 12. And then it just kept, my love for this place kept growing and growing and growing. And my dad took me to my first game. I think it was, my mom took me to my first game. It was a bowl game, LSU Clemson Chick-fil-A Bowl in 2012. LSU lost on a field goal. I left in tears. It was fourth, I'll never forget it, 4th and 17. Taj Boyd threw an 18-yard completion to DeAndre Hopkins. They kicked the field goal, and Clemson lost. And Clemson won, yes. And young Harrison was very distraught. But, I loved LSU so much and came down here as a student and worked for the athletic department my sophomore year until now, and the rest is history.
Yeah, well, I was at that bowl game. I remember it well. I think Clemson ran 100 offensive plays that night. Yeah. And LSU jumped on them early. I think they called
Jeremy Hill had a touchdown. Yep.
Right off the bat. And that was the year after LSU made it to the national championship and lost to Alabama.
Yep.
That was the year that they, 2012, had Bama at home and should have beat them. And then Bama played Brian Kelly and Notre Dame in the national championship. But just real interesting, the fact that you grew up so far away. This is, you're not from Lafayette. You're not from New Orleans. You're not like growing up with LSU all around you. The fact that you were so far away and got kind of hooked on the natural drugs, so to speak, is pretty cool.
So they were always on my TV as a kid, CBS 2:30 slot, and LSU always caught my eye more than any other school. I could feel it through the television. The tradition here, the passion of the fan base, the culture of Louisiana. Louisiana is different than the South. There's the South and there's Louisiana. People always tell me like, "Oh, you should have went abroad for college." I'm like, I did. I went to school in Louisiana. That's like its own abroad experience, and I could feel that passion through the TV with LSU. And I actually got to interview Tyrann Mathieu a couple weeks ago, and that was another full circle moment for me because he was one of the people that made me fall in love with LSU and all the plays that he made. And I really related to, I'm sure we'll talk about Lane Kiffin as well today, but I really related to Lane Kiffin's moment where he talked about Tiger Stadium and seeing it for the first time, because when I first saw Tiger Stadium for the first time, I teared up with my dad. Like I literally was on the bus going from our downtown Hilton to the stadium, and I teared up because the power of LSU is profound.
Yeah. What year, what game was that?
My first game in Tiger Stadium was 2014 against Kentucky. We beat them resoundingly. Terrence McGee ran for a bunch of yards. Tre'Davious Wright had a punt return. It's crazy how I remember this stuff. I just
exactly. I mean, you and I are the same, although decades apart. I mean, my first game was in '87.
Yeah,
I remember it very, very well. I remember the feeling of walking into Tiger Stadium, and it was 80,000 at the time, and just I'd never seen that many people in one place. It's pretty staggering.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say is when you work in sports, you become desensitized to a lot of that stuff, and I really make it, I try to make it, I still try to have that feeling with me. Like you go to all these sporting events, you get to do all these really cool things, but I still want to not take for granted the ability to walk into Tiger Stadium and be like, wow, it's my office. Like I work in Tiger Stadium and I don't want to lose that ever. Like I don't ever want to take that for granted because it's just what is it? The 5th largest stadium in the world.
Yeah. You can become that way if you're not careful. It's like, the college baseball rankings came out this week. LSU's 5th.
Exactly.
They're in the top 5 every week. We don't even there's some place that would throw a parade, we're that highly ranked, or, the women's basketball. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that there was like 300 people in that place. Exactly. Now it's 10, 11, 12, or 1,000 more every night, and you just kind of get used to it now.
Yep.
Just like LA Box, back to baseball. I mean, I remember a while back there was like a study or something that said like 80% of college baseball teams play in front of 300 fans or less.
Yeah.
And you come to LSU, and we just get used to, tonight's paid attendance was 10,526.
Exactly. I mean, we're the New York Yankees. We are the New York Yankees of Louisiana. There is no other school. I mean, we've got Southern and Grambling and Tulane, but, Alabama has Auburn. Florida feels like 10 different schools. LSU is it in Louisiana. LSU is the school, and you feel that in the passion and the interest, the eyeballs that we attract, and that's a really cool thing.
There's no drop-off point. There's no, in the calendar, maybe at the end of LSU baseball, which these days is taking you almost to the 4th of July by the time they're done celebrating. Yeah. And then you got SEC Media Days in the middle of July for football. Mm-hmm. So that's like 2 weeks later.
July is when I take my time off, so that's when I'm on the beach.
You've got to take time at some point, or you will burn out. I mean, we took a lot of time for Christmas recently. I'm like, look, these guys have been going nonstop for 4 months, nonstop from August all the way forward for all the football stuff. Because now, from the middle of February to the beginning of April is the busiest time of the year. There is so much going on between your LSU, your Southern, your high school, and then you throw in your spring footballs and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, on our side, we call it crossover season. Yeah. You've got SIDs working multiple sports. You've got photographers going from baseball to basketball to gym. I mean, people tend to think that football, biggest thing, busiest time, but I mean, from now until the end of baseball is going to be the busiest in terms of our business.
It's the time where the most people are the most invested.
Yes, yeah.
Like people who don't even care about sports will go tailgate because that's what people do here. Yeah. But in the spring, with all the different sports going on, you'll have your March Madness. Yep. You'll have your both in college and in high school. You'll have your start of baseball season in the middle of February. Yep. I mean, I think Valentine's Day is when LSU women, they host South Carolina.
Yep. How about that?
Huge day. Yeah. Jay, I like the daytime baseball games, too, that Jay's doing.
I will say, I was driving by the box today, and it's, 77 degrees outside. It really feels like LSU baseball season out there. It's not here yet, but I'm looking forward to it so much. Jay's got another incredible as long as Jay's our coach, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, he sat where you're sitting, and I asked him about a year ago, how much do you sleep a night? He said 6.5 hours or so. I had a hard time believing it.
Yeah. Football coach doesn't sleep much. Baseball coach doesn't sleep much. I'm sure a lot of our coaches don't sleep much, but we've got a good thing going. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's the deal about LSU baseball. It could be 75. It could be 35 degrees at the beginning of the year. You just don't know. Not that way where you're from.
Exactly. I did. I saw a ton of snow. I went home for 10 days over the holiday, and I saw we got a bunch of snow, so that was a nice little change of scenery.
Yeah, well, it was about a year ago here. We got the ultimate snowstorm.
How about that? That was awesome.
Yeah, and that led to, and what you do, right?
Yeah,
pictures of a lifetime.
Exactly. Did you see my video?
I'm sure I did.
Yeah, I took
Tiger Stadium pictures.
I went to the top of Tiger Stadium and took a video of just the entire stadium while it was blizzarding, and it went crazy viral. Because, some people see, most people see blizzard, let's stay inside. We see, okay, blizzard, let's go get a cool video.
Yeah, right. We don't have it very often. In 2 or 3 days, it's melted and gone away.
Yeah. I saw Whit Weeks building a snowman at like midfield too, which I thought was awesome.
Yes, yeah. I had the video. I think Kramer, Robertson, and Kim Mulkey were throwing the football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was awesome.
And then Kramer went and tackled Kim in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of videos. I mean, I was kind of pretty lazy at home. I didn't go to work that day, but they were like, hey, what can you do? I'm like, well, I got my laptop editor. So I was like texting every athlete that I knew, hey, can you text me a video or a picture or something that day? So I'm reading so this is, if you go to lsusports.net, Young Harrison Valentine, his bio is on there. So in this role, Valentine works closely with athletics administration on brand discovery, brand strategy, strategic messaging, written storytelling, and name, image, and likeness. Those are just a few things that
I can. That's a bunch of fun, fancy words, right? So what I do is my title is Assistant Director of Strategic Initiatives, which is pretty broad, which allows me to kind of touch various aspects of the department, which I really like. One is I oversee LSU Plus, which is our premium content subscription service. So fans will pay for, behind the scenes docuseries for our teams, like The Path that follows our football team every year. The Climb, which is a Emmy award-winning docuseries on the gymnastics program that follows them all year long. The Powerhouse, which is our baseball docuseries. So if you want anything that really doesn't go on social media and is behind the scenes, will go on LSU Plus, and fans will get unprecedented access to the favorite teams that they like. I also run the podcast network, so that is part of LSU Plus, and you can also listen for free on all audio platforms on the Hey Fightin' Podcast Network. So we have a bunch of shows on the podcast network, probably 5 or 6 different shows. A football podcast, Hey Fightin' Podcast, Tigers Win, which is one-on-one conversations with our coaches, kind of talking to them about what makes them tick and why, what makes them winners. We have an NILSU podcast. We have just various podcasts that kind of allow our student athletes to show their personalities, because that's a big thing in today's NIL era, is allowing student athletes to kind of showcase themselves and build their own brands. But also for our staff and our coaches to come in and kind of get whatever word out that they want, whether it's a big match coming up they want to promote, go on the podcast network and talk about it, and we'll post a clip about it. I also run 2 social media accounts. I run The Brand, which is, I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then LSU Plus, I run their socials. And then I do a lot of script writing, PR-related stuff, press releases, stuff
well,
like
what
that.
you just said, Zach Greenwell, who works over at LSU, he took the position that was Cody Worsham's spot. And he said that in an interview with me the other day, and the fact that we never tell anybody at LSU who to be or how to act.
Exactly.
We never told Angel Reese how to act. We didn't tell Flau'jae Johnson that. We don't tell Kim Mulkey. And that seems to be a message that LSU has really tried to get out. Hey, you come here, you can be yourself.
Yeah, when you combine the platform of LSU with somebody's gifts and talents and their personality, it's you've seen it time and time again. It's a gold mine. It takes off. They become not only just stars, they become icons. I mean, when you look at Joe Burrow, Angel Reese, Olivia Dunn, Paul Skeens, Jaden Daniels, I mean, we built a new branding space up in Tiger Stadium. I don't know if you've been able to see it, but it's called The Brand, and we all used to be, as a department, scattered across campus. So marketing would be on the 2nd floor of admin, photography would be on the 5th floor, video would be on the 3rd floor. It was just, we were LSU Athletics, but we were all in different places of the administration building, and we thought we'd all come together, one floor, one cohesive unit, and make it just a branding hub for our student athletes everything that they could possibly need is there for them to become the best version of themselves. So you walk down that hallway and you've got the SIDs who are there ready to do media training. You go to the podcast studio and do a podcast with whatever to build your brand there. And then you go to the NILSU department and do NIL deals with them. Our social media suites are in there, so you can talk about how to build your social media following. It is so that hallway for us has become so big for recruiting because you walk them down that hall and you see what all these people have become at LSU, and why can't you become the next version of that with everything that we have on this floor?
Well, Darren DeQuano, videographer, we go to LSU football games, and we've talked about this in the past. We're like, can you imagine the stupid stuff I would have said if they would have put a microphone in front of me at 20 years old, 21, 22 years old, and the fact that...
Thank God for Tommy Karam. Shout out Tommy, the
Shout
GOAT.
out Tommy Karam, the Jedi master of media training over there. He's been there, I think, since like 1980
he's awesome,
maybe?
yeah.
Been there a long time, trained so many people. But, the fact that these young people, like sometimes you'll hear somebody like 50 or 60 say, well, he's immature or she's immature. Well, yeah they're teenagers, and now they're put in these big spots. And LSU, to the credit, I'm not talking about LSU. I'm just talking about just athletes in general now. They're expected to be well-polished, well-spoken, and act like they're grown-ups, and they're not. But I guess too much is given, much is expected. They are now, a lot of them getting paid, and professional athletes.
There are expectations on how to act, but there are not. You look at Flage. You look at someone like Flage. There are no guardrails. You're allowed to be yourself. You're allowed to pursue your passions. You're allowed to show your personality. And I think when you combine those three letters with somebody that has a colorful personality and has a really talented ability on whatever playing field they have, they not only have opportunities on the field, but that opens up opportunities for them off the field in terms of brand deals, in terms of advertising, in terms of life after sport. I mean, Angel Reese is doing incredible things outside of WNBA. I mean, you look the Met Gala. Did you see the Met Gala last year? It was like 6 LSU Tigers on the Met Gala red carpet. I mean, there was no other school in the country, and we called it the LSU Gala. I mean, that is. There is no price tag you can put on that, because that just shows that when you come to LSU, your life can change forever.
Well, everything I feel like now is in real time. Things are being reported in real time.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. It used to be that there was a press conference or something. The people in the room controlled whether or not things got out.
Yeah.
And if somebody was at a press conference and maybe spoke out of turn, there might be hey, y'all don't put that out, or don't put that in the paper, and people would agree on, we won't do that. Now everything's live streamed.
Exactly.
So people are watching it. There's no sweeping things under the rug if there's a soundbite that gets out that they don't want or whatnot. So I do feel like that there's more pressure on the athletes to an extent, but I think that when you're young, you don't know any better, and so they take the ball and they run with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of pros and cons to this new era, and I think the biggest pro is putting a personality to the face, getting to know the people that actually play for your team. I think before it was, number 4 is really good, but they know nothing about him off the field or who he is or what he sounds like. Now I feel like we've done a really good job of putting a personality to the face and letting their best self come through, whether that's through a podcast that we do, whether that's through a third-party NIL deal and an advertisement. But like someone like Tradez Green, who is a super good kid, I feel like people know him, and that's awesome because of the various things you see around town and stuff like that. So I think that's been my favorite part of this whole thing, is allowing our student athletes to flourish, not just on the field, but kind of building themselves up off the field.
Yeah. Well, especially in football, too. I felt like it was a sport where, you knew the quarterback's face.
Yeah.
You knew like 5 faces.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, if they walk by you down the street, you wouldn't know because they wear a helmet.
Yeah.
And
now with TikTok, I feel like you're scrolling through TikTok and all these LSU football players are posting videos and stuff like that. And it's just, you've never had more access to your favorite players than you do now.
Yeah, and I'm not complaining. But really, LSU's in a primary spot in which, I mean, obviously you guys have the access.
Yeah.
You can be anywhere and share anything, and I don't know how much media access Lane Kiffin is going to give us. I'm not sure about that. But a lot of times what we see at practice is what you tweet. You know, here's like in the past, here's Caleb Jackson. He took a swing pass. He went 80 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you're the ones that shared that. We weren't there. And so, you know.
I mean, you were getting full practices and everything. So,
I was. Brian, yeah, we were. Brian Kelly gave us, I mean, I've been here a long time. Like when I got here, Saban was here, Les Miles, Ogeron, Kelly. I mean, he gave us more access than I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was standing there watching LSU actually scrimmage.
Yeah.
You know, Les Miles. It was toss sweep to Leonard Fournette against Air and get the hell out.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens with the new coach, and you know, I don't think some people would mind if they don't have to get up and go out to 100-degree weather at 9 a.m. if he closes practice, but. We'll find something else to cover or something else to do during the day. But obviously, you know, LSU football, the world revolves around it.
For me, I just go home and look forward to Mike and Buddy's practice reports. That's what I go home and watch.
Mike Scarborough and Buddy Sanji. Yeah. Well, they're veterans. Done a great job over the years. Get it sponsored, right? Mm-hmm. What's that one guy? And I'm Little Alex.
Oh yeah, Pride Roofing.
There you go. See, Mike, your ad is working. I remember it. So, have you met Lane Kiffin yet? How is that going?
He's the busiest man in America right now. I've talked to a lot of people, and he's just working, and I have not met him. Last time I saw him briefly walk into the nutrition center when I was eating, but that was it. You see it on Twitter. He's working really hard, and I think the last time I saw him for good was the introductory press conference, which I was super impressed with. I think when he walked in, you could tell he was a little, on edge, a little nervous. But once the questions started being asked, he really became his most authentic self and opened up. And I think he had a lot of really good answers. Two of my favorite answers were, one, when he talked about Tiger Stadium and the power of LSU, and then two, when he talked about how he really leaned on his mentors with talking about Nick Saban and Pete Carroll and how tough the decision was, but how ultimately he made the right one in the end when he came here.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Louisiana. I don't have any ill will or hate Ole Miss or any of that. I wish that he could have coached the team to the finish line. And I wish that, signing day was like at the beginning of March or something, and that spring football or an OTA period, as Nick Saban said, could be in May, and that these guys could coach their team start to finish and not be interfered with. But this is the calendar, and he's a victim of it, and the LSU job came open, and if he doesn't take it, then he may never get a chance at it again.
I will say they are a feisty bunch right now. You tweet anything with Lane Kiffin's name in it, and you're going to have 50... burner, faceless Twitter accounts in your comments coming after you. I became victim to that a couple times so far. So
well, I joked about it. I remember, Les Miles here won a national championship in his third year at LSU, and some people wouldn't give him credit because they said he won with Nick Saban's players. And then people are tweeting Pete Golding, 2 playoff wins, Lane Kiffin 0. Like he literally just walked away from the team 15 minutes ago. And the interim coach, you're really going to give him all the credit, and that the guy that was the head coach gets no credit for what's going on. Give me a break, right? Yeah. I mean, let's have a little objectivity here with what's going on. So, and I know I don't want to speak for Lane Kiffin, but I know it's got to kill him. I mean, he built this team up. He's been a head coach all this time, and he's finally got the one team that he wants, and he's put in a tough spot where, look, the best job in college football came open. You got to take it. You can't tell LSU, hey, look, I'll get to the signing class later. I'll get to you guys later. I got to coach Ole Miss first. They weren't letting him do that anyway.
2 things I'll say about Lane Kiffin. One is I really am excited, not just because of what he can do on the field, but I think he really fits in Louisiana with his personality. What you see is what you get. He's very authentic, and I feel like Louisiana is all about authenticity. Our people, our culture, it's as authentic as you get, and whether it's dunking basketballs on the sidelines or doing the fist pumps, I could see him really doing, engaging with the student section and fist pumping all the way to the student section. He's just a really energetic, authentic personality, and I think that'll really resonate with our fan base. The other thing I'll say is we're in the midst of portal season. Everyone's, going crazy on Twitter. I really trust this staff's ability to evaluate talent. We've seen it time and time again. Their ability to find the best players, no matter how or where they're coming from. No matter where they're coming from, they know that they're going to fit in our system. And whether it's like a Trinidad Chambliss from Ferris State a year ago, or whether it's someone else, they know what's going to fit in their system, and they've been able to take those players and make them into superstars. So I really trust their ability to evaluate talent, and I think it's going to be good.
Well, I think we both know the pluses and minuses of social media.
Yeah.
And, when I'm asked to speak to college students, and I can't believe sometimes that I'm speaking to college students and trying to give them advice. Certainly some of my high school teachers would have been like, are you serious? That guy, the class clown. But one thing I try to tell them is don't waste too much time getting in food fights on social media, arguments. Nobody cares. By the time tomorrow rolls around, you will find you've wasted a lot of time and energy on something that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about it, real quick, I'll let you, but
no, you're good,
is that you have a head coach now that you can tweet at and he might respond to you.
Exactly.
You can interact with the head football coach. When I was growing up, that was just, you go to a game and you see him from far away, or you might walk next into the fact that you can kind of, interact, I think is pretty cool. Yeah,
I joked with Brandon Barrio, who's the director of social media, executive director of social media at LSU and runs the football account. I was like, you're not going to have to run a head coach account this time, do you? Because he's like, nope, Lane, that's all Lane. Lane runs that. So if you have any questions about whether Lane, has someone tweeting for him, no, that's all him.
Well, I've joked about the Steve Ensminger Twitter account.
Yeah.
And those of us who know Steve Ensminger know there is less than 0% chance he actually tweeted something. So when someone would go out on the Steve Ensminger Twitter account, I mean, you'd point a camera at Steve Ensminger. Nope, don't point a camera at me, no pup. So there are those accounts where, but yes, Zach Greenwell said yes, everything he tweets is he's tweeting it.
Yeah, and I think a couple of weeks ago I said something along the lines of Lane being authentic and his and him fitting in with the LSU fan base, and I tweeted that out, and it got like 50 comments from Ole Miss fans, and I hate conflict on Twitter. I'm a PR guy. I'm crisis management. I don't like any conflict, so I went into a hole for 10 days because all the Ole Miss fans were in my comments. But then I see a guy like Preston Guy who's going after the Ole Miss fans on Twitter. I'm like, you've got some serious what.
It is fun to watch the development of a tweet. You'll tweet something, and then the LSU fans will retweet it, and then you'll get
I had 5 comments before I even hit send.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was surprised. I think they're just scrolling through Lane Kiffin's name on Twitter and just.
Well, you'll tweet something and you'll see the LSU fans react to it, and then you'll see Hottie Tottie 1984 retweeted you, and then here come the Ole Miss fans. that way.
It's the algorithm, right?
The algorithm. Yeah. Well, a lot of people searching Lane Kiffin's name.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Feinbaum, who has been a big critic of his, did say that he's the biggest name in college football, and so. Harrison, when I was growing up, your parents might tell you, don't worry about what other people think about you. But it seems like in your profession, that saying doesn't work. When you're getting beat by Texas A&M like a drum, you hear about the optics didn't look good. The stadium is empty. The Texas A&M students are taking over our student section and so forth. So you're really in the game of even if I hand you, all right, here's a tuna sandwich that's rotten, Harrison, you're going to find a way to sell to the people, this is delicious.
I mean, our job working for LSU is to elevate our student athletes, to elevate the institution, which ultimately elevates the state. You can find the hit pieces and the hard news elsewhere. That's not our job. But our job is to, create excitement ultimately around the programs that you love. And, that I love that part of the job because honestly, I started out wanting to be a beat reporter. I wanted to be a Ross Dellinger, and I've told him that before. I told him that his work inspired me in more ways than one.
By the way, the National Sports Writer of the Year.
I gave him a little congratulations on Twitter.
NSMA, I believe it's.
And I wanted to be a beat reporter, and then I started working for LSU my sophomore year of college and saw that side of the business, and I really liked the PR side and promoting things instead of putting things down. And so. Yeah.
Well, in Ross's case, that you're going to type something up that's factual. But
exactly.
I'm going to tick off a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of angry people once this goes out. And I think that's the hardest thing. Sometimes people say, well, why did the national people break that story and some local people didn't? Well, because I got to live here.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to go to the grocery store. I got to go to the gas station and stuff. It's a lot easier sometimes for the national person to swoop in and out. And
Ross is first class. So,
yes, exactly. I mean, he's a national guy, but almost I think of him as a local guy because he worked here and he was on this beat and he knows it and everything. And I remember the day that Les Miles got fired. I hope I don't mind telling the story, but I remember we were standing outside. So they lost to Auburn on Saturday night. We were driving back. I think we were at the Pit barbecue. Yeah, it's out in wherever. And I think Ross broke the story. The Les Miles was fired. Like, all right, we got to get back to Baton Rouge. So we go back to football ops. We're standing outside, and Ross is standing outside. And Foster Morrow is pulling by in his truck and shouts at him, "You don't know anything, Ross." And I was there. I was like, well, actually, Ross knows everything, actually.
I remember videos of Foster Morrow being like photobombing a bunch of times in Ross's tweets back in the day when we used to have player interviews in the indoor. We used to do
indoor football.
Yeah. So.
And for years they had those buzzing lights.
I think they got to still be happening.
Maybe so. And people will complain to us about like it was our fault, like our microphones are buzzing. I'm like, no, that's the lights on the inside. And I'm glad Foster's with the Saints a couple years ago. Real cool. I went and covered. It was the end of 2023. I think it was LSU was at the Saints were at Tampa. And the next day was LSU and Wisconsin in the bowl game. And I went and covered the Saints game and saw Foster down the field. We took a selfie real quick. They beat the Bucks and everything. So
didn't he overcome a battle with cancer?
Yeah, he had Hodgkin's lymphoma. Am I pulling that out of the air? Yeah, it was like scary thing. But
glad he's okay.
Seems like everything's going well for him. So, what else should we talk about here when it comes to LSU? Certainly. The glamour, like I talk about, we're market 95 television. Like there's Los Angeles or
never a dull moment.
New York #1, Los Angeles, Houston, Chicago. Those are the big cities. Yeah. We're not a big city, but like you said, I mean, and even like covering Brian Kelly, I think it was cool that Brian Kelly knew my name, would tell me hello. I mean, this was a big famous Hall of Fame coach that was at Notre Dame, came here that I got a chance to cover. All the people I've got a chance to cover over the years. I mean, Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson's the greatest thing going right now in college baseball. You've got a gymnastics program that sells out. Jay Clark's done an amazing job.
Yeah.
And look, let me just say this real quick. Beth Torina, okay? So some people have gotten grumpy about the lack of postseason success and everything. I understand, okay? But like soccer made it to the Sweet 16 and was celebrated. First time they've ever done this, and rightfully so. It was a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, we get mad because Beth Torina loses in the Super Regional. What's the Super Regional? The Sweet 16 of softball. So, those are – I'm just rambling at the moment.
No, I'll just piggyback and say I don't think there's a more well-rounded athletic department in terms of athletic success in the country than LSU, and I think you've seen that. Everyone says, like, I hope you enjoy the glory days while you're in them, or something like that. What's the saying? Like
there's something there. Like these are the good old days.
Exactly. I mean, you look at our sports. Women's basketball is a perennial power. Football will always be a perennial power. Baseball, I mean, has won 2 of 3 national championships, which is just incredible. You look at men's basketball, who is I think they have a lot of the pieces to go to a NCAA tournament. You look at gymnastics, who just won a national championship. Our golf teams, I mean, like Jake Amos and the women's golf team have them pulling in the right direction. LSU is when Lane Kiffin and Kim Mulkey came into the PMAC the other night with their hands in the air, I was like, there is no place like this. I mean, as somebody that is from New Jersey and has seen what a different environment is like, I can tell you firsthand, there is no place like LSU. And the culture here, the passion of the fans, the interest, there is simply, it's just different. I mean, it really is just different, to take a term off of Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it, our platform, our colors. When you put on that uniform, it seems to create iconic athletes and people.
Yeah. It's cool.
It is cool. It's flashy. It's cool. Like we said before, we allow you to be yourself and show your personality. And there's always like a little swagger with LSU. You know, there's always, when you have somebody that has gifts and talents and they're allowed to be themselves, there comes with a swagger with that. And I think Louisiana has a little swagger to itself too.
Well, Tiger Stadium, the PMAC, Ellick Box.
Yeah.
There are places that allow grown-ups to be kids.
Exactly.
And scream and yell and shout and break away from their sometimes boring, monotonous adult life, right?
Yeah.
It's where everyone can be a kid. And they're all behind the same goal.
Yeah.
And, it's like the moments you never forget. I will never forget in 1988 watching it on TV, Tommy Hodson throwing a pass to Eddie Fuller in the end zone and him going catch against Auburn and the earthquake and all that. I had the VHS tape.
Yeah.
I watched it a million times. I will never forget LSU playing Georgetown in the Superdome in front of 66,000 people, basketball, and they had Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo, Georgetown did. LSU had a guy named Chris Jackson who became Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Yep.
And shot at the buzzer, and Ricky Blanton grabs the rebound and puts it in. And they beat the number 2 team in the country, and Blanton jumps up down, and Dale Brown. Those are the moments that you don't forget. 40 years. Don't ask me what I had for lunch today.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did I park? But ask me about LSU sports from 40 years ago, and I can tell you.
Well, I was very fortunate because my first year working for LSU was 2019. So
I was, real quick, not to interrupt, but I was thinking, the calendar of Harrison arriving. Scott Woodward and the hires and all that as a former AD. I think it's all Harrison. When he showed up,
I would love to take that credit. But it's like when you go to the fireworks in New York and it's like the best in the world, and then you go to some other fireworks show and they're just nothing. When you start in 2019, it feels like, nothing could ever replicate that, but it's been close because we've won 6 national championships since then in various sports. Track won in 21, baseball in 23 and 25, women's basketball in 23.
And championships are funny too. Like, if you look at those teams on paper, you might think like, I don't know, this team should win the title and not that one, but that one wins the title and this one doesn't. You need luck. Kramer Robertson, whose mom has won 4, has told me you got to be lucky to win one.
However you want to spin it, South Carolina losing to Iowa.
Yeah.
In that, that we had lost to them twice that year, and beating Caitlin Clark there is no easy task, but it's probably a better matchup for us.
Yeah. Well, walking around the arena in Dallas that night, great game. LSU beats Virginia Tech. Kenny Brooks was the head coach. Obviously, he's now the coach of Kentucky. And I was running around trying to get stuff back, and I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, I was hanging in here with South Carolina, who was undefeated. Yeah. And then when they won, it was almost like this jolt of energy. Hey, LSU can win the title now.
Yeah. I will say, having covered 19 and baseball championships and all that, I don't think I've had more fun than that 2023 women's basketball run. Like, that was, I got to go to South Carolina and watch them play at Colonial Life Arena, which, not to give them a ton of publicity, but that was one of the craziest environments I'd ever been in, men or women's sports, period. That was incredible. And to go to Dallas and got to go to Greenville. It was Greenville Sweet 16, right? And they
beat Utah and Miami and Greenville, South Carolina,
and got to see Mulkey Gritty on the court, and then it was that was a dream. Couple of months with that team. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I went to that South Carolina game too, the regular season game.
Yeah.
It was Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, it was so hyped up.
Dawn Staley, I think, was wearing a Randall Cunningham
jersey. She was wearing an Eagles jersey.
Eagles jersey of some kind. The Eagles were playing
and
the
Mulkey
Chiefs.
was wearing a bright pink outfit.
Yeah, and that was the famous post-game press conference with Mulkey. It's South Carolina and it's everyone else.
Yeah.
It's South Carolina and it's everyone else.
I have noticed that she is very calm after losses. You notice that a lot of the really good coaches are at their calmest after losses.
Saban?
Yeah, and you expect them to come into these post-game press conferences. Like after Vanderbilt, really tough loss. They're on a 2-game losing streak. You're expecting her to come in guns a-blazing. But, she's cool as a cucumber, and I think you notice a lot of the good coaches do that when they lose. It's like Saban. He was at his peak when they're winning. He doesn't want them to get complacent. So.
Well, I watched a clip of Kiffin with Theo Vaughn, and I've watched a lot of Nick Saban press conferences over the years.
Yeah.
He's the person that I have covered the most who I was not covering. Just because every time LSU would play Alabama, I'd watch press conferences or whatever. And it's 100% correct. Saban is so built up against guys getting full of themselves. We won, reading our own press clippings, relaxing. When they lose, it's okay, I got to build them back up type thing. They're disappointed already. And I think Kiffin said that.
And the women's basketball team, in my opinion, is going to be just fine. They, first time in her career she's ever gone 0-2 in conference, but you look at that team, they're going to be more than in the mix by tournament time.
The two teams they've lost to now, by the way, are ranked number 6 and number 7 in the rankings.
Look, they were leading in the fourth and should have closed them out, but you could see it both ways. I'm not too concerned with them.
No, I mean, when your season is defined by what you do in the NCAA tournament, you got to think that, look, they've taken some criticism about their non-conference schedule, but there's 8 teams, including LSU, ranked in the top 25. By the time this thing is all said and done and the brackets come out in March, they're going to be battle-tested. Don't worry.
I mean, these conference schedules for men's and women's basketball, when you look at them, it's not what it used to be when I was a kid. I mean, SEC basketball, men's, and women's, it was like every game was on ESPNU if they was lucky. I mean, now, men's basketball, they've got like a 4-week stretch against 3 top 10 teams. Women's is top team after top team. So
Trent Johnson's first year as an LSU men's head basketball coach, they won the SEC easily. I think they were 13-3 or 14-2 or something like that. They got an 8 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
Only 2 teams got in that year, LSU and Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now, and Mulkey too. I was talking to Patrick Wright about it. He said when Mulkey first got here, it was South Carolina, Tennessee was okay, and everybody else was like, eh. Now, Kentucky is good. Ole Miss is good. You added Oklahoma and Texas to the league. And so, every game's a war. You gotta lace them up. And look, they're, she used the word tough enough. We're not tough enough. She's challenging them. We'll see what happens.
Have you been to every SEC venue?
I think
not to put you on the spot.
I think so.
Did you make the trip to Oklahoma this year?
I did go to Oklahoma, yeah. I drove up there with my parents because, long story short, it was Thanksgiving time, and the people that normally go with me weren't going, and so we drove up to Norman, Oklahoma. I've been there.
Missouri, Kentucky.
Been to Missouri, been to Kentucky. South Carolina I hadn't been to till just recently.
Yeah.
Mississippi State.
I'm sure you've got them all.
I think I've seen them all.
I'm still working on mine.
Still working on yours? Where you got to go?
Knoxville.
Yeah.
I went to Vandy this year, which was super fun. Went to Clemson's not in the SEC, but I think I've got about 6 stadiums left.
Okay.
So I still got some work to do.
For the longest time, I'd never been to Starkville for whatever reason. And I finally went. And look, people bag on Starkville, but if you want to just go out to the country and a quiet place to watch a game and not deal with you from the big city, there's probably some times you don't want to go to the big city, right?
Well, where I'm from in New Jersey is more of like a countryside, like big fields.
Okay.
New York is the big city, but I know people like to dog on New Jersey. Is it? Oh, it's city, armpit of the country. But where my part is more of like green grass, big fields, stuff like farmland, stuff like that. So
yeah. Well, and my old man music here. So New Jersey's where Bon Jovi is from. Mm-hmm. John Bon Jovi, like I'm a working class guy and had to work hard to make it big and all that stuff. And Bruce Springsteen, right?
He was I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, that was like Bon Jovi's idol or the guy they looked up to. Some guy named Southside Johnny too. Apparently he's big out there that got brought up.
I will say there is a comparison with Louisiana and New Jersey. The north part of the state is very different than the south part of the state. So I'm from the north.
Well,
and people always just assume that, New Jersey, Jersey Shore immediately. And I'd been to the Jersey Shore like twice in my life. So
I was flipping channels yesterday and Mike the Situation popped up.
Yeah.
I'm like, there he is. There's Mike the Situation. I mean, he was older on that show. I think he was like 35 when he was on Jersey Shore.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
That was the ultimate case of junk food television, like no nutritional value, strictly junk, no substance, like just drinking chicken broth or something, just all salt. All right, well, we finally had our first Jacques Talk with Harrison Valentine.
So
check out his stuff online. If you're an LSU fan, you have certainly seen one of his tweets or posts or whatnot. They have such an amazing team over at LSU. Todd Polites, the stat man,
the best of the best.
Who the SIDs. So I brought this up as a positive the other day when I had Bill Franquez in here.
Got to listen to their podcast. They have a podcast.
The
right?
SIDs, right? Yeah.
It's called Sports Information.
Sports Information.
How about that?
I need to check that out. But I said, when I first got here in 2001, the 3 sports information directors were Michael Bonnet, Kent Lowe, and Bill Franquez, and that has not changed.
Nope.
The 3 guys are still
and
there.
They've got 35 years of insights to share. So if you're looking for that, any stories about LSU athletics, they've got a lot to say on that podcast. So.
I think all 3 of them could write a book.
100%.
And it'd be good stuff.
They're
now,
the
what
best.
would they put in the book and what would they leave
Exactly.
out?
Exactly.
But it's like LSU football. It's like there's only one Nick Saban. There's no one like him.
Nope.
There's only one Les Miles. There's only one guy like him. There's only one Ed Ogeron.
Exactly.
Brian Kelly, I mean, successful, but and there's only one Lane Kiffin. So
for sure,
these are people all their own. Over at LSU. Well, look, man, thanks for coming down.
Thank you for all your coverage as well on LSU and promoting our stuff. So I just wanted to say that and appreciate your friendship.
It's the best job in the world, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So Harrison Valentine, he was a Yankee. Now he's, I don't know, we would call him a Cajun, but
I've been here for 8 years now. I'm living here full time, so I guess I'm.
Are you a Louisianimal? What are they called?
Louisianimal?
Yeah, Louisianimal. So good kid here, Harrison Valentine. Thanks for stopping by. Jacques Talk. We'll see you later.